So we'll go straight into the Premier League news now as it happens. So the first one, we will start with, obviously, a former Aston Villa midfielder that looks like potentially Manchester United have registered their interest in signing Juventus midfielder Douglas Luiz this summer, with Everton also keen on the 27-year-old. Lou, I think it was, he's a talented player. It's not quite worked out for him in Italy, in all honesty. I think at the period in time, he was instrumental to, obviously, that Aston Villa side that did get Champions League football those years ago anyway, or propelled them to greater heights as well. Do you think he would be thought on this report, Bud, in regards to potentially coming to United? Is he the right type of caliber that Manchester United need? Obviously, defensive midfielder as well, but
yeah, he's a defensive midfielder, but he's almost like a deep line playmaker who's happy to run with the ball and get forward. His actual passing stats from last season are very, very good. This is from the past 365 days, top 5 leagues. He's getting top 10% for live ball passes, top 9% for passes attempted. He's also great at putting the ball into the box. If I can just find the one that I just had. So his actual passes into the penalty area, he's in the top 16%. Key passes is in the top 9%. And his expected assists, he's in the top 14%. He's someone who, United's big problem has been their creativity. And when they have been able to get balls in behind, they've got the likes of Højlund and Xerxes there who can't finish their dinner. So they need They need to be able to get the ball into decent players. This isn't going to fix their problems, but from a creative standpoint, they lack that real spark in the middle of the pitch who's able to unlock defences, unlock attacks. You've got Bruno Fernandes who's carrying the load, but beyond that, you've got Ugarte. He's not a very creative player. Casemiro, same with him. Mason Mount has flashes, but he's too injured too often. This would be a good signing for them. My only concern is the wages. United do have a habit of overspending. I know Ineos and Jim Ratcliffe are trying to correct that problem a bit more recently. I know Casemiro's had a reduction in wages. Getting him would not be a bad idea, but until they sign someone up top who's able to... I know they've just got Cunha, but they need more up top to be able to finish the balls that are being put across to them by a Douglas Luiz. This is just fixing part of the problem. But he's a good player. There's far worse to be going for. I know City were linked with him not too long ago. That's the calibre of player he is. So it might not work too well at Juventus, but there's a far, far worse options out there for them to be going for.
So, yeah, I suppose anyone that comes into United doesn't quite work out anyway. But no, spot on, mate. He's, as you said, a very talented midfielder. Much as... I've just been, not that I'm disappointed and made up Ugarte, he's done poor at Manchester United. I think we all are anyway, but I think obviously his time in Portugal prior to it, obviously he did Portugal and then went to PSG and then went to Manchester United as well. He's the data department when he was in Portugal, he was off the charts. But as is the case that many players that go United, Lou and Chas, they don't tend to just work. They tend to leave United and then somehow get better again. It's just, it's one of them. But time will tell with that transfer as well. So going into a little bit of, obviously, Leeds United, obviously, back in the Premier League promised lands as well. How long they potentially will stay in the Premier League this season, time will tell anyway. But they're looking at one of Real Madrid's top talents at this moment in time, being massive in the Club World Cup as well. Leeds United are one of the clubs who want to sign Real Madrid striker Gonzalo Garcia on loan this summer. I don't know if you've seen much of him in regards to the Club World Cup this season, mate, or over the last month or so.
Yeah, I mean, dribs and drabs. He's not someone that I could happily sit there and say I'm like an expert on. Yeah. Leeds are definitely in the they are going to need to sign someone who's a bit more lethal up top. They have struggled there at moments, but there's, like I said, there's far worse players to be going for. Like, I'm looking at his things now, and in the Primera Federación, he's got 65 appearances, 30 goals, 5 assists. The UEFA Youth League, 6 goals and 3 assists in 16 matches, 4 goals, 1 assist in the Club World Cup. he's someone who's 21 years old, and there's a lot of potential to develop there. We saw what they did when they signed Rodrigo when they last came up to the Premier League. He was a big player at the time, someone who was going to develop. It didn't work out very well, but their transfer strategy at Leeds tends to be more hit than miss. And I think if this is someone that they view as a potential regular first teamer, scoring 30 goals in 46 games last season,
very highly
that's
regarded.
It's a terrific way to get things moving in the right direction for them.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I've watched. I do apologise, chat. I had to watch that tournament. I don't know why I was watching that tournament. And he really impressed me. But I suppose different opposition as well. Great statistics you've read out there, Lou. I didn't actually know he actually scored that many, and obviously the academy for Real Madrid. But by all accounts, very highly regarded. And I think this would be a massive coup, especially obviously whatever Real Madrid do in terms of this transfer window, bringing in potential for forwards or whatnot. Yeah, as Lou said, 21 years old as well, bright future. And I think it wouldn't too bad for him to get first team regular football, because certainly if he comes in, obviously he's a much improved. I don't even know if Patrick Bamford's still at Leeds, but if he is, then he's a massive improvement on Patrick Bamford. Sorry, Bamford, doubt you're watching last. So it's all good. So we'll go on to obviously a little bit quickly to gloss over this as well. I don't know too much about this midfielder, but in terms of Tottenham are rivaling Inter Milan in the race for 23-year-old midfielder, defender Koni de Winter, and have initiated talks with Genoa. The Italian side would accept around in the region of 22 million for the defender, who is also wanted by Bournemouth. And we'll speak about a certain Bournemouth striker. It's centre half moving in the European section as well. But obviously, have you got a couple of statistics up there, Lou?
Yeah.
How does he fare? Does he look interesting from your point of view?
Well, it's interesting because it depends on how Tottenham are going to play now under Thomas Frank. If this was an Ange Postecoglou style footballer, I think he'd do very well. He's very much someone who's not too composed on the ball. His overall passing stats are a bit hit and miss. 55. He's got an 86.6 pass completion rate, which for a centre back, it's not awful, but it's not great considering most of their passes tend to be just pass around the back. He's also he's got progressive passes 2.36, which is in the bottom 24% in Serie A last season. Obviously, it's a slower league. We can make that what we will. But the big thing is he's 6'2" in terms of his height and his stature, and he's in the top 22% for clearances and the top 13% for aerial duels won. Now, we've seen at Brentford, Christoph Ayer was integral to the Brentford team because of how imperious he was in the air. Brentford's defence, they can go high, but they do like to also dip quite deep. They tend to win a lot of their aerial battles. This seems like someone who could easily fit a Tottenham team if his role is to be the sweeper at the back. He's the brick house at the back of the team. And 23 years old, depending, like £22 million, is that? Like, that's a bargain for someone at that age.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one there, mate. It's, as you said, Collins. I think I don't know if you like him as a centre half for Brentford.
Yeah.
He's a top player as well. As you alluded to, but I think Thomas Frank, I think he might actually turn the tide really at Tottenham. I hope he does, because I like him as a manager, as long as it's not against Liverpool this season.
He's also a set piece taker as well. He was he was getting passes from free kicks for centre backs. He was in the top 22%, and he also takes some of their corners. So he is a centre back who can play on set pieces as well.
Can you say? I was going to say we don't know the scouting recruitment team, but I think I don't know if you've seen it, Lou, or there was a chart, like someone had leaked a chart of Thomas Frank this week of him on his board, and it had like bullet points and all that, and it had like auditions for the long throw.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's got that in his locker or whatnot. Anyway,
well, 2.11 throw-ins taken. That's in the top 22% for Serie A. So
there we go. You don't get that anywhere else on YouTube. I'll tell you what. So hit that subscribe button anyway. So Thomas Frank, you never know, but interesting potential signing as well. And this one, Granit Xhaka. Sunderland are exploring an ambitious move for signing Granit Xhaka is also 3 years left on his Leverkusen deal, but he would be allowed to leave this window. Was previously, the last couple of months as well, rumoured with a move to the Saudi Pro League. Certainly AC Milan in the last couple of weeks as well. Those deals haven't materialised. I think this, I know he's getting on and he's getting, but it adds that much needed experience to Sunderland, Lou, if I'm being honest. As long as he can stay on the pitch and not get sent off like he used to with at Arsenal, it's one of them. Like, do you think he'll be a good, ambitious signing for Sunderland, Lou?
Yeah, 2 goals, 7 assists in Bundesliga. And this isn't the Granit Xhaka of Arsenal who was getting booed when he was taken off and throwing the kit and the armbands and stuff. Like, this is a Granit Xhaka who's improved, matured. And by Leverkusen, don't forget, he was in the Invincible season. He was a key component of that team, which had the likes of Florian Wirtz and Frimpong, who we've signed, of course, just had to get that in. But he still puts out good passing metrics. For progressive passes, top 2% in the Bundesliga, 9.91 per 90. And if I can just, I've got a way of sharing it, but looking at his actual passing metrics, he ranks in the top 5% of Bundesliga for these stats, and it is a bit of a list. Passes completed, pass completion rate, total passing distance, passes completed short, passes completed medium, passes completed long. He's in the top 14% for assists, top 2% for passes into the final third, top 2% for progressive passes. He's someone who can unlock Sunderland's attack from deep, and he's also a good defensive-minded player. He's got a lot of maturity on him now. He still puts out 1.62 clearances per 90, and he loses very few of his challenges composed on the ball. Top 7% for carries. Like you said, he is getting on, but he is someone who can be a pivot for Sunderland in midfield. And with them having just lost Joe Bellingham, stepping up into a new league, you need that experience in your team. You need people who can come in and, like Cambiasso joined them for Leicester, you need those aged and experienced players. That was a bit of a
mad one. What a name.
It was a mad one, but you know what, mate? It worked. And I think if Sunderland are coming up to get someone, Granit Xhaka, who's got the experience while also still putting out those numbers and being a contributor. Like, people were saying they should have signed Henderson. That would have been great for the story, that would have been great for experience, but would he be able to contribute to the team in as meaningful a way as we will with Granit Xhaka? I don't think so. So I think this could be a real ambitious signing for Sunderland in terms of staying in the Premier League next season.
Yeah, and he just was the former Brighton midfielder as well, the winger. Completely gone up my head. I do apologise, Chas. The lad from Brighton, anyway, the winger.
I will find out for you because I'm not 100% certain myself.
They signed him, but that, I tell you what, Sunderland's potentially could stay in the division as well. I do
and Adingra. Simon Adingra.
There we go, miss. So, yeah, to add and complement that with potentially Granit Xhaka, as you alluded to, Lou, would add a lot of steel to that. And certainly a massive improvement since the days of playing in the Premier League with Lee Cattermole. Well, I suppose might replace him for the red cards. I don't know, but you never know.
Stefan Sessegnon and throwbacks.
Ghana, was it Gay up front or whatever? It's so yeah, the Ghanaian striker as well. So
Victor Anichebe and all that.
Yeah, was it Larson as well? Yeah, so yeah.
Sebastian, yeah. Stephen Fletcher.
There we go. We'll be here all day anyway, chat. So we'll go on to the. So that was the Premier League news as well, though, Reds. Some interesting moves on the horizon for all those teams that we've mentioned this afternoon. But we're going to venture over to... Oh, finally. No, we're not. Come on, McIndoe, read your notes. So the final one, obviously, Madueke. We mentioned this last week, but it looks like it's a done deal. Signed until 2023. The official announcement will be soon as well. 50 million. Lou, ridiculous. It's how Chelsea managed to pull this one off to Arsenal. Well,
mate, not a clue.
That is absolutely ridiculous, really. Anyway, so we'll go obviously into the Europe